असतो मां सद्गमय तमसो मां ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
Jai Shri Krishna. The explanation of the Shlokas is not a direct translation nor an in-depth analysis. With humility and respect, our attempt is only to simplify and explain the meaning in a conversational language. The objective is also to inspire independent thinking amongst curious knowledge seekers and beginners in India and beyond. Errors in our understanding or pronunciation, if any, are regretted.
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर।
Work should be performed as a sacred offering or devotion to Bhagwan. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. In today's materialistic world, it is difficult to even think of doing work which is for the soul's purpose of satisfaction of God. Maybe we could instead say the greater good. If we work with the intention of acquiring more wealth and goods, the sacredness is somehow lost. Yes, material wealth can be one of the outcomes, but the intention should always be to serve God or the world at large in whatever little ways we can. Then we stop being so competitive and comparing our lifestyles with others. That only brings more misery. Yes, we can work just to make a positive difference in the world, directly or indirectly. Doesn't matter what our professions are. Think about it.
अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्न सम्भवः यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः।
All living bodies survive on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yag, and yag is born of prescribed duties. All living beings survive on food grains, vegetables, fruits, including those who eat flesh of other animals, as the animals that are eaten also survive on vegetation in whatever form. This vegetation is possible due to the blessings of the rain god or Indira, who is also part of the Supreme Bhagwan, and Bhagwan can be made happy if one fulfills his duties with the intention of service. Bhagwan doesn't demand you to serve him in temples, though it is one way to show your love too. But what you do in the service of humanity pleases Bhagwan enough to bless the earth with abundance through rains and the food that comes with it. Why only humanity? Service can be extended and directed towards all living creatures, as we all have come from that single source. The idea here, friends, is to look beyond ourselves and see how we could be useful to others.
यद्याचरति श्रेष्ठस्तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते.
Whatever action a great man performs, common people follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. As we all know how great people lead by examples, the shlok refers to a Shresht person. In simple words, someone who is superior or great could be a leader, teacher, or even your father. Here, the importance of Karma Yoga is highlighted. Additionally, the question we need to ask is who really is superior? Does it have to do with his intellect, qualifications, conduct, position, power, usefulness in the society, wealth, or a mix of all? What you consider superior will actually guide your own conduct in life, so be careful. Whether you yourself are a leader that people look up to or a follower who idolizes a certain personality, choose wisely, choose authentic. Also remember, successful doesn't mean Shresht.
प्रकृतः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते.
The soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are actually carried out by the three modes of material nature. This shlok is difficult to explain, but let us take an example of two persons, one in Krishna consciousness and other in material consciousness. They may appear to be working on the same level, but there is a huge difference. The person who is controlled by materialism usually has a false ego and believes he is the doer of everything. Now think of an activity you love. Could be your art, writing, or even creating slides in your office. Think of the moments when you feel completely zoned out, immersed in your work. Who is doing it? Is it really you, or are you just the medium? Sometimes work seems like a heavy burden, a punishment too. If you want Krishna to choose the work you would love to do, first admit to yourself that you really want it. Get determined to work hard. Surrender to Krishna and see how beautifully things unfold.
श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एष रजोगुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विद्धयेनमिह वैरिणम्.
Shri Bhagwan said, "It is lust only, Arjun, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is all devouring, sinful enemy of this world." Krishna tells Arjun that when lust gets in touch with materialism, it gets more intense and transforms into wrath. A strong desire to possess material objects is a sin that can actually destroy the whole world. Friends, what do you think of man's untamed, relentless pursuit to acquire more and more? You might have heard there is enough for every man's needs, but not enough for even one man's greed. You can see for yourself how the poor animals, the air, land, and water resources are suffering due to this constant exploitation. Despite having more and more material wealth, man remains restless and angry. Where do we stop? Think about it.
इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्.
Shri Krishna said, I instructed this eternal science of yoga to the sun god Vivasan, and Vivasan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. Krishna explains to Arjun that the eternal science of the Bhagwad Gita was spoken to sun god Vivasan, who radiates heat and power to other planets. Vivasan instructed to Manu, who is considered the father of the human species as per our scriptures, and in turn it was passed on to Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of the planet Earth. It is estimated that this knowledge has been in existence on earth since 2 million years and spoken to Arjun again about 7,000 years ago. Friends, how does it make you feel to know that Gita is the song of Bhagwan himself? Our Vedic Sanskrit heritage in forms of scriptures dates back thousands of years, and it is strongly recommended to explore this knowledge yourself under the guidance of a learned teacher without biases, with the conviction that it's the eternal truth. Also, bear in mind, in present times, the truth might exist through a sacred book having verses expressed in Sanskrit and explained in other languages. But can you trace its true beginnings? It has always been, shall always be, before languages even existed. Doesn't matter how it was communicated.
एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्तप.
The science of yoga was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it appears seems to be lost. This divine knowledge was passed on through a systematic succession and understood the way it was. However, through the passage of time, different interpretations arose and the essence was somehow lost. Maybe that is why Krishna himself passed it on to Arjun to have it structured and documented properly. In the present times, we must preserve it in the form it was meant to be without personal prejudice. Even if everyone understands it in the context of his own life, one needs to be objective and clear-hearted to receive this knowledge undiluted.
सैवायं मया तेद्य योगप्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्.
That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Krishna says that this very transcendental mystery is now passed to Arjun, as Arjun is a devotee as well as a dear friend who can truly understand this mystical yoga. So friends, the fact that we are also given a chance to experience Gita says a lot about Krishna's trust in us. Yes, we are all dear to Krishna. What else could we ask for?
अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया.
Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still incarnate in a physical form. This one is tough to explain, but probably we can all feel it. Krishna remains unborn and his energy never deteriorates, but he still appears in a physical form by virtue of his Yoga Maya, expressing himself through a body, despite the fact that he remains Bhagwan of all living entities. It is mentioned in our scriptures that Bhagwan appears in both ways, as the formless Brahm and in a physical form. These are both dimensions of his personality. Isn't it true about us all? We all have a physical body that can be seen and an Atma which cannot, but it is felt and experienced, even deeply if we silence our minds. Sometimes, friends, we struggle to find the right words to express Bhagwan. Maybe we don't have to. We just need to know He is. He is all there is and all there is not.
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्.
Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Friends, this is such an important shlok for which we also need to keep an open mind. The word religion is not a direct translation of dharma, though this term is accepted due to the sake of convenience. Dharma means righteousness. Sanatan Dharma means a continuous, ever-evolving, infinite order of our rights, responsibilities and privileges. Sanatan Dharma is based on the principles of truth and non-violence. Whenever there is a uprising of evil, degradation of moral code of conduct, violence towards helpless beings, and an extreme form of injustice, Bhagwan manifests himself in the form of an avatar, whether for a few moments to fulfill a special purpose or through a person for a period of time. You can call them divine interventions. Krishna is a Purna avatar or a perfect and complete form of such an intervention.
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
Krishna further adds that to protect the righteous, to destroy the evil, and to re-establish the principles of dharma, I appear on this earth age after age. The explanation is simple, yet the meaning is deep. Whenever dharma is getting destroyed by evil or negative energies, Bhagwan appears to set the order right. You can call it an extreme step taken under exceptional circumstances. But does Bhagwan have to? Can he not just make it happen with the blink of an eye? Why the trouble? Is it because Bhagwan probably does not want you to believe in miracles? Well, there are rules and principles and guidelines to follow, and despite being protected by him, we still have to do something. We still have to act. We still have to fight. It won't just happen on its own. So Ram took birth to set an example and to teach us a lesson, the victory of good over evil. Krishna did that too, to teach Arjun the duty of a Kshatriya. In the present times, if we look hard, we can see traces of divine in some people. But are we waiting for that one person to come and set things right? Why not begin by cleansing our own minds and conduct through this divine knowledge?
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन.
One who knows the divine nature and truth of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains me, O Arjun. Krishna says that those who know the truth about Krishna's divinity his appearance on earth or birth, as well as activities upon death, attain moksha or get liberated from the material world and become one with the source. Friends, we all know life is not easy, but have you ever noticed how peaceful and happy the devotees of Krishna seem to be? They are humans too, having their own set of karmic baggage, but they make it lighter through the devotion to Bhagwan. Through learning the knowledge of Gita, meditating upon Him, chanting His name, singing bhajans, dancing, and rejoicing in the fact that He is present in our hearts, surrendering to Him, we can all make our time on earth so much more wonderful. Let's try it.
वीतरागभयक्रोधा मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा पूता मद्भावमागताः.
Being free from attachment, fear, and anger, becoming fully absorbed in me, and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me and thus attained my divine love. Friends, in the previous verses, we talked about cleansing our minds. How can we do that? By becoming detached, fearless, peaceful, and purified in the sacred fire of knowledge that we have Bhagwan's protection. Many people in the past have attained Krishna's divine love, and we are all capable of that. Does it mean Krishna needs your devotion and is partial towards those who worship him? No, he is beyond all that. It will be explained in the next verse.
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः.
In whatever way people surrender unto me, I reciprocate or shall serve accordingly. Everyone follows my path, knowingly or unknowingly, O son of Pritha. Krishna says, it does not matter in which way people surrender to him and which path they take, Krishna will reciprocate. Whether you are a devotee or an atheist, you cannot be free from the science of this knowledge, and everyone has to abide by the rules. We are all under the power of Bhagwan's mystical energy Maya, indulged in materialism and under this bondage. We cannot escape it till we are liberated from a karmic debt to attain the ultimate goal, which is not heaven but moksha. Whether we believe or not, we cannot break the rules of the cosmos.
चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्य कर्तारमव्ययम्.
The four categories of occupations were created by me according to people's qualities and activities. Although I am the creator of the system, know me to be the non-doer and eternal. Before going further, please note that gun means qualities and karm essentially means actions or activities. Now the four main occupations of Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras that people indulge into are based on their nature, skills and activities and not birth as it is popularly misunderstood. These are not castes. Jati and Varn are interrelated, and though families and bloodline make a huge difference, the deciding factor needs to be a person's own set of talents and inclinations. We can have a bit of all the four, but usually one dominates at a point of time. These are evolving too and depends how our nature responds to the times. Bhagwan provides people the means and energy to act, but we are all responsible for our own actions.
तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्ष्यन्ते ते ज्ञानै ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः.
Learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Approach and inquire with respect and service. Such an enlightened saint can impart knowledge onto you because he has seen the truth. Krishna here recommends finding a self-realized guru, someone who is enlightened with the divine truth. Friends, we need to be humble and respectful of the person who has undergone the process of enlightenment and try to learn with full dedication. The knowledge of the Vedas will not come easy unless we can commit ourselves to a process of deep sadhana. It is hard work, it needs surrender, it cannot be bought. But if our intentions are pure and we are fortunate to have the right person to guide us, the knowledge will reveal itself.
विद्या विनय संपन्ने ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि शूनि चैव श्वपाके च पंडितः समदर्शिनः.
The truly learned, with the eyes of divine knowledge, see with equal vision a Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater. This is nearly impossible to follow in current times. Essentially, it means being non-discriminatory and seeing every being as a fragment of Bhagwan himself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It means not judging anyone but being objective about every being, whether it is a learned person, an animal such as a cow which is supposed to be revered in our culture, an elephant, a dog, and even people who eat dogs. So friends, we need to see the divinity in everyone. Does it mean people who do wrong don't deserve punishment? No. Law of karma will always prevail. There is good and bad in us all. The idea is to be a lot more good than bad, isn't it?
ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्यन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः.
The pleasures that come from contact with the sense objects, though appearing as enjoyable to worldly minded people, are a source of misery. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, so the wise do not delight in them. Worldly pleasures are finite. Example, how much success or money or fame will truly bring peace and happiness? Worldly pleasures are temporary. Example, how much chocolate or alcohol can you have? There has to be a limit, right? Worldly pleasures are also lifeless or fake. Example, can you see your favorite movie every day? So the wise people understand this and instead find meaning in their lives, which can come from devotion or service to mankind, or even through pursuit of knowledge. They do not acquire material objects to feel accomplished or to prove a point.
भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति.
Having realized me as the enjoyer of all offerings and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all the worlds, and the selfless friend of all living beings, my devotee attains peace. Though yajna is usually referred as a sacrifice, it can also mean an offering through the sacred fire or Agni Devta. You might have heard of the line, Tera Tujhko Arpan, which means we offer our worship, chanting, or even prasad to Bhagwan, knowing fully and with humility that it all anyway belongs to him. Another concept could be when we offer service to others, including taking care of the plants and the animals of the world, isn't that too a way to serve Bhagwan? Bhagwan is the selfless friend of all living beings. He is present in all. We can all attain peace once we realize him. And with this, we have completed most important shlokas from chapter 3, 4, and 5. Jai Shri Krishna. As you already know, some concepts are beyond the intellect of the human mind, and there are no right words to explain except in Sanskrit. Considering our limited understanding, kindly again accept our apologies for any mistakes. However, some things need to be felt but not forcefully. When your logic, reasoning, and faith are in perfect unity or yoga, you simply know. Those blissful moments are rare, but we are all capable of relishing them. Gita is offered to everyone, but not everyone is privileged enough to experience it. Let us be grateful to Krishna for his blessings.
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं